kind of gets stuck or anything, then. And if you also, if you want to say, let's take a break or cut there, or let me rephrase that, anything like that. Okay, so whenever you want to start, Brian.
Okay. What do you want me to introduce, or do you want me to do anything like that? Or?
Just no, just I mean, yeah, you can tell. I suppose you could say like I'm still a little off balance here. Kind of where you're from and who are the members of your family, something like that to begin. Okay.
Okay, well, we are a family of four. There's myself and Marina, and we have Constance, whom we call Connie, and Lucia, two daughters. Connie is 10, she'll be 11 this year, and she has Down syndrome. And Lucia is her sister, who's 2 years, just about 2 years younger. Connie is doing good. She's in mainstream school. I mean, we as a family have tried to do everything we can as a group of people ourselves, and also with other people in the same situation or circumstances. So we are members of the local branch of Down Syndrome Ireland, and we have got involved, both of us, at national level as well, to try and make a difference for our own family and for Connie in particular, in that, where we see improvements in the services, in the type of supports that can be delivered for people with disabilities in a general sense. And I suppose that related back to our concerns when Connie was younger in relation to the development of speech and language. There was a lot of turnover in staff in the area, in the HSE area. HSE delivered services directly in our area. There's no voluntary provider. HSE are direct providers. So there was a lot of turnover in staff. Some of them were very good, some of them were okay, and that was an issue because, in the early intervention or the early years, speech development is quite important, and we felt it was impacting. So with other parents in the same situation in the county, we looked at getting additional speech and language service. And I suppose after 8 or 10 years, we now have, through the local branch of Down Syndrome Ireland, a service from contractors being delivered. So it's professional speech and language therapists. There's actually 3 of them working in the county with about, I think it's 15 families. And we're funding that ourselves as parents through our activities at the local branch. So in a way, we have found working in the typical sort of community development sense with a network, a group of people with the same concerns and the same family concerns and the same understanding of what we're doing, that has worked. Now, I suppose as a family ourselves, we have also managed to secure some help from the HSE in terms of after-school service for Connie. When she entered the school system, I suppose we wanted her interacting in her community like her sister and other typically developing, like the other children in her school, to go to after school, because we both work, Marina's part-time, and we wanted her to be interacting with her peers in the after school, which is right beside, in the community centre right beside the school. So we approached the HSE with that, and in fairness, the local HSE service, which is called the Councillor for Special Needs Service. It's quite unique to the Sligo region area. They're changing the name of that at the moment. They assisted us in getting support for her for 2 days a week. There is another child or children with disabilities, not intellectual disability, but other issues, and so their needs were combined with Connie's needs, and support was provided in the after school, funded by the HSE. So that was quite unique, I suppose, and I suppose it involved ourselves developing the relationships with the HSE staff, explaining to them the needs and felt it was necessary. So it gave us an early indication of the types of things are possible where you can and do develop that relationship, and I suppose make that case outside of what is regular and systematic or established and institutional. And I suppose that was one good experience, but there are so many. And now as Connie gets older, she's now 10, we see that, and listening to other parents, as she becomes an adult, those opportunities lessen. There is a lot of support and services and focus, even politically and even from the services, to ensure that children are really well looked after. But as the child gets older, there's definitely not as much political weight in looking after those children as there is for the adults, and the services seem to drop off. So I suppose after 10 years of involvement in Down Syndrome Ireland, we're beginning to see that yes, an organisation like that is great. They provide great support, pure support for families in particular, but that when it comes back to the individual, there is still so much that you have to and must do as a family unit or as people advocating on behalf of your own family member. And at this point, that would be taking us in a slightly different direction, because with organisations like Down Syndrome Ireland, they have the local branch, which is, it's very close relationships between families in a particular area with particular knowledge of that area, and then you have the national level, which is looking at more global issues. They're much slower to transform or to change, and the organisation is an institutional. It has institutional arrangements of its own, which can be slow, and even though it achieves good things in time, and it's very important. We've now come to, the point where you're saying, we really have to examine how we can support Connie in being more self-directed, because she's now beginning to assert her personality, I suppose, and to tell us what she wants. When a child is younger, like with any child, the parents are really taking cues, but really looking after the family's interest in general rather than the specific interest of individual members. And as they begin to assert their personality, you have to take a different view, and you have to change how you deal with that. And so I would say we're reevaluating how we are interacting then, and how in the future we'll have to interact with the services and the supports and the community around to ensure that she has a good life. How does that
It's very good.
sound?
Yeah.
Maybe I went on too quickly. Or is there
No,
anything?
did you want to repeat anything, or kind of do a redo, or will we talk about a couple of other things?
Because it mightn't be easy to break it up, is it?
Right. Well, that can be an issue, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Because once I got started, I didn't want to stop, and maybe, I don't know. Let's see now what I could do or say.
I think the piece about accessing the aftercare support is a really crucial one. I think that's probably one of the bits that I'll use. But I mean, you said it very well, and it seems like it's the kind of thing. I mean, you might want to redo it or elaborate on it, but
I can do a piece on it in itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see now how will I go about that. Yeah.
And also, or instead, if there's other stories like that.
Okay. Well, really for herself. Let's see. Well, she did have a preschool support, but that was general from the HSE. And it's out of that she got the after school support.
Yeah.
So I can maybe expand on that.
Okay.
See. Okay. Maybe she's, what is it now? She's in fourth year. Okay. Maybe I'll do that. Okay. So I suppose when when Connie was finishing up in preschool and accessing her. So when Connie finished up in preschool and was accessing national school for the first time, she was moving to a small country school, two-teacher school, and quite a close-knit small community, rural community. And there was an after-school service right next to the school where the children in that area had accessed the preschool. So when Connie was transitioning to the national school, we had some, support, SNA type support in the preschool, and we felt that in order to continue that community involvement with her peers from school, we approached the HSE to see if they would support her. And I suppose our relationship had built up over a few years through the Counsellor for Needs service, which is unique, I suppose, in one way to the Sligo, Leitrim, West Cavan area. It's a service provided on the early intervention to children up to 18 by the HSE, which is a direct provider in that area. And we had developed a relationship with that service, and I suppose when we explained her needs and our needs as a family to the HSE, they were open